August 19th, 1941. It's almost 3 in the afternoon, and rain is battering the command tent of German Army Group Center. The sound is relentless, like machine gun fire. This is the Yelnya Salien, just 220 kilometers from Moscow. Inside, the air is thick with tension. Field Marcel Fitter, Bunbach, a man forged in the crucible of Prussian military tradition, snatches a telex from a nervous cipher clerk. The paper shakes in his hand. The message is a catastrophe. A Soviet counterattack, led by something called a T-34, has just annihilated his 78th Infantry Division. The numbers are stark, brutal. 112 German tanks lost. In exchange, the enemy lost only 3. Von Bach's signature monocle falls from his eye, clinking against the iron cross pinned to his uniform. 3, he whispers, his voice a hollow echo of the confidence that had carried him to the gates of Moscow. The word hangs in the air, an indictment of everything they thought they knew about this war. While disbelief paralyzes the German command, a different scene unfolds on a muddy ridge overlooking the Desna River. Soviet Colonel Ivan Chernyakhovsky stands ankle-deep in the mire, his greatcoat unbuttoned despite the downpour. His binoculars are slick with rain as he surveys the battlefield. His unit, the 1st Guards Tank Brigade, has just ripped a hole in the German line so wide you could drive a freight train through it. Aute 34. 76 the very bis that caused such chaos rumbles past him. Its dregs churn the mud into a thick soup. The turret hatch is open, and the commander, a young senior lieutenant named Nikolai Yakovlev, flashes a grin smeared with grease and pure triumph. He gives Chernyakhovsky a sharp salute, shouting over the engine's roar, "For the motherland." The deafening sound of the diesel engine swallows his voice, but the message is clear. This is a new kind of war, and they are its masters. Down in the valley, the German perspective is one of pure horror. Oberstleutnant Hans Bonluck, a veteran Panzer commander, watches his 3rd Panzer Regiment simply dissolve. It's not a battle, it's a slaughter. He witnesses a single T-34, Witte Kolsin Rodina Motherland charge, headfirst into his column of tanks. The German 37mm anti-tank guns, their so-called door knockers, fire desperately. Their shells just ping off the T-34's sloped armor like hailstones. They might as well be throwing rocks. The Soviet tank takes its time, aims, and fires once. The German Panzer erupts in a ball of fire, a greasy black plume of smoke marking its grave. Von Luck's driver screams into the intercom, "We're flanked." "Sir?" "We're flanked." But the warning is useless. There are no flanks anymore. The T-34's are everywhere, moving like a pack of wolves hunting scattered prey. Their wide tracks give them incredible mobility on the muddy terrain, and their revolutionary Christie suspension lets them glide over shell craters that would trap a German tank. Von Luck grabs his throat microphone, his voice tight with desperation. "All units, fall back. Fall back to the river line." The only reply is static. A moment later, a new voice cuts through the noise, eerily calm, almost amused. "Negative, Oberstleutnant. The river is behind us now." It's the regimental adjutant. His staff car is already a burning wreck. There is no escape. As night falls on the Yelnya salient, the battlefield transforms into the burning hulks of German tanks. The landscape like funeral pyres, their orange glow reflecting off the low, heavy clouds. The rain continues to fall, turning the earth into a cold, klingen qualm. Klingen qualm. In muddy foxholes, German soldiers huddled together, their faces pale in the flickering light of distant fires. They whisper the name of the tank that has shattered their world, T-34. The name becomes a curse, a bogeyman lurking in the dark. A young lieutenant, trying to process the day's horror, pulls out a cigarette pack. By the flickering light of a match, he sketches the tank silhouette. He captures its key features: the low profile, the wide stance, the radical sloped armor, and the turret pushed far forward. In a moment of gallows humor, He adds a pair of devil horns to the drawing. He shows it to the man next to him. No one laughs. The fear is too real. Too immediate. They had been told they were the master race, their equipment invincible. Today, they learned that was a lie. This shockwave wasn't just felt on the front lines. It traveled all the way up the chain of command to Hitler's Wolf's Lair headquarters in Rat. A commission was hastily assembled, led by top designers including Ferdinand Porsche, to study captured T-34’s. The findings were sobering. Heinz Guderian, the architect of Blitzkrieg, wrote bluntly in his report, "Hitherto, we had enjoyed tank superiority, but now the situation was reversed. The T-34's combination of firepower, armor, and mobility was something they had no answer for. It featured a powerful 76mm gun that could destroy any German tank on the field. Its armor was not just thick, but sloped at an angle, causing many incoming shells to simply deflect harmlessly, and its wide tracks and powerful diesel engine gave it unparalleled cross-country performance, especially in the mud and snow of the Eastern Front." A German staff officer, summarizing the bleak reality, muttered to a colleague, "We brought a rapier to a sledgehammer fight. They had underestimated their enemy completely, and now they were paying the price in blood and steel." Meanwhile, hundreds of kilometers away in Moscow, the mood was entirely different. Joseph Stalin sits at his desk in the Kremlin. He reviews a production report from the Kharkov locomotive factory, which had been converted to produce the T-34. The numbers are staggering. In the last month alone, 398 toneladas, 34's, rolled off the assembly line. Stalin takes his pen and underlines the number not once, but twice. Then, in the margin, he scrawls a single, powerful word: more. He understood that this tank was not just a weapon. It was the key to survival. It was the symbol of Soviet resilience and industrial might, a steel fist that could punch back against the invaders. While the Germans were struggling to find a counter, the Soviets were preparing to flood the front with thousands of these revolutionary machines. The simplicity of the T-34's design, which initially looked crude to German eyes, was actually its greatest strength. It was easy to manufacture, easy to repair in the field, and could be produced in immense quantities. Back at the front, the logistical nightmare for the Germans was just beginning. Quartermasters frantically counted their ammunition stocks and realized their standard anti-tank weapon, the 37mm gun, was now effectively obsolete. It was useless against the T-34. Their newer 50mm gun could only penetrate the T-34's armor at dangerously close ranges, often a suicidal proposition for the gun crews. The only weapon that could reliably deal with the Soviet tank was the formidable 88mm anti-aircraft gun. But it was large, cumbersome, and available only in limited numbers. The weapon they desperately needed, the 75mm PaK-40 anti-tank gun, was still months away from reaching the front in significant quantities. Every German soldier, from the highest general to the lowest private, was now acutely aware of this critical vulnerability. They were facing a technological leap that they were completely unprepared for. The myth of German invincibility, built on swift victories in Poland and France, was being torn to shreds in the vast, muddy plains of Russia. The T-34 didn't just change the tactical situation. It changed the entire psychology of the war on the Eastern Front. It created what became known as tank fright among the German infantry. Soldiers would see the distinctive silhouette of a T-34, and their morale would plummet. They felt helpless, armed with weapons that couldn't protect them. This fear was a weapon in itself, as potent as the 76mm gun. The T-34 wasn't just a machine. It was a legend being born in fire and mud. It represented the brutal, uncompromising nature of the war in the East. It was a war of attrition, of mass production, and of sheer industrial power. The elegant, complex engineering of the German Panzers was proving to be a disadvantage against the crude, effective, and mass-produced Soviet armor. The Germans had planned for a short, sharp war. What they got was a long, grinding struggle against an enemy who could absorb horrific losses and just keep coming. Backed by machines like the T-34, the rain keeps falling over Yelenya. The fires burn low. Somewhere out there in the darkness, a diesel engine coughs, sputters, and then roars to life. The hunt is far from over. For the German soldiers shivering in their foxholes, it's a sound that will haunt their dreams for the rest of the war. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of history's most iconic machines, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more stories from the front lines.